Hello, welcome to Bentley's Backwards Bushcraft, and this is Richard, and I do have some notes, so you're going to see me doing this a little bit. I wanna have some ideas in my head and know exactly what I want to say and how I want to say it. I don't want this to be just a rambling idea here, idea there type video. I would like people to listen to this and express themselves however they desire, but I want to express myself. And right now I've decided that I'm going to title this video "Why Useless Martial Art Lists on YouTube Are Useless." It's these people who say X amount of video, these are the 5 martial arts that suck, or these 10 martial arts are useless, or however they want to word it. That's the basic idea. My whole point of this video, I'll just get out at the beginning, is that they're starting from the wrong position in my view, because there's really no such thing as useless when it comes to martial arts, just useless for you. So anyway, let's see if we can get through this without me getting too rambly and off topic. So I think, in my humble opinion, that using the word useless without adding "for me" or "stupid" or any word you want to place there, unpractical, whatever word you want to place there, using that word or term without adding "for me" completely makes your statement untrue and non-factual. Period. End of story. So I will say that the number one reason that these videos for me don't work is that, and I'm going to say all, but it's not all, I would say most, very much most. Most all of these videos state opinion. They have little truth or fact, and they're untrue, unrealistic, biased, and lies. Most are compiled by untrained, uneducated, unskilled, or biased individuals. Basically, unpeople. That's what I'm naming them, unpeople. So, I'd like to say that I'm not arguing this point. I'm not attempting in any way to change anybody's minds. I personally don't really care what someone else thinks or believes. It's completely up to them. I just think if you're going to state something like that, it should be followed with "in my view" or "in my opinion," because the fact of the matter and the truth of the matter is that you may personally think that art X sucks or is unrealistic or doesn't work, but someone else may find that it's very, very applicable to what they're doing. So I've decided that I just plan on using and expressing my view to the overwhelming chatter of the universe. So let's see here, where are we at? So that basically states my general idea here. So as an example, I am going to list 8 things, either styles or attitudes or cultures within the martial arts that I don't really care for, and maybe a little bit why, but it's for me and it's personal. You can very much disagree with this, and I'm okay with that. Just because I think an art is useless, sucks, doesn't work, or whatever else they say out there, it doesn't mean that it's true for you or somebody else. It's just personal. So we'll start with a quick list of the 8 that I've just listed here quickly, and then I'll go back and I'll discuss each one of them in a little bit of detail and try to express my viewpoint on it and where I'm coming from. So as far as what I consider doesn't work or isn't for me or something like that, number one is Taekwondo. I'm not interested in that style, and I'll express it why here in a little bit. Capoeira is number two. Almost all the Chinese martial arts and almost all the Korean martial arts. Every art from India. Let's see here. The attitude of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu people. No-touch knockouts. And arts that mainly use nothing but Kata. Alright, there are the 8 that I have no interest in. And in my view, for me, are not practical or useful. So let's go back up to the list and start with Taekwondo. The reason I don't care for that art in general is that I'm not a kicking person. I don't kick. I'm not really a kicking person. And even if I do kick, I won't kick 99.99% of the time. I better add that. I will not kick you above your waist. There's no need. Until somebody's kneecap is up here, I won't have any. I said most of the time. I said most of the time. Anyway, my wife's giving me the liar, liar, like that. So anyway, if you've watched my videos or have listened to me before or anything, you might catch that. But like I said, 99.99% of the time, you'll never catch me kicking above your waist, because kneecaps don't go above your waist. So anyway, and you can argue the benefits of kicking high. It's quite fine. It's absolutely cool. People who can do that or enjoy doing that, awesome. More power to you. You know, I just personally have not developed my way of combat, fighting, training, or anything else with kicks above the waist. They're just not for me. Now, if a very skilled taekwondoist, if I was ever to get into a real, and I'm not talking about tournaments or dojo or anything, I mean real out on the street for my life, with any of these, any of these 8, they could clearly, they have an opportunity to beat me up just as quick as anybody else does. I'm not taking away from the fact that it can work for some people, plain and simple, just not for me. But if I ever got kicked in the head or above my head, because taekwondoists like to kick way above people's heads, I don't know what that's all about. But if I ever got kicked in the head,
gotta kick the air up there too.
Kick the air?
Yeah.
They're hitting my chi up there or something.
Yeah.
But if I were to ever get kicked in the head by some of these taekwondoists, they'd knock me out. Plain and simple. I'd get my ass kicked. Won't deny that. Any of these people can beat me up. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying for me it's not practical or good for me. So anyway, and I really am not sure where the whole idea of just disliking Taekwondo came from, other than the kicks. But to be totally honest, I started training martial arts in 1978, and I cannot remember a time ever that I thought Taekwondo was cool in any way, sense, or form. So anyway, we'll go on to number 2, Capoeira. Again, a very pretty art. It's very pretty looking, dance-like. They got great rhythm. They got great skills with cardio and everything like that. I'm sure it's fantastic for whatever reason you enjoy it. I just do not practically care for arts that are flashy, and that's one reason why I don't like Taekwondo. I see it as a flashy art. Plus, when I see Taekwondo tournaments, their hands are down here like this, and they're kicking like people's eyebrows and stuff. It's not, for me, a practical street self-defense thing overall. But Capoeira kind of falls into that same category. It's flashy, it's pretty looking, it's, I don't know, I just don't care for it. Now, I do enjoy watching it to a little bit, to some degree. I can't watch Taekwondo on YouTube at all. But I can on occasion handle a little bit of capoeira for a few minutes. Now, again, 90% of the stuff that they say are fights with taekwondo and capoeira and whatever else aren't really fights. They're either point tournaments or they're just people goofing off. Unless you're fighting another capoeira person, you're going to have to get lucky. Now, I don't believe in luck, and I think the person that's most prepared is the luckiest. And again, if I ever got caught with one of those kicks, put me out, plain and simple. All right, number 3, almost all Chinese arts. I'm trying to think. Now, I do respect the value of Tai Chi as a combat art. I really do. I do personally know at least one person that is highly skilled in Tai Chi and is a good martial artist and very practical fighter. And he uses his Tai Chi very well. So I can say that I do appreciate Tai Chi. I really do. But as far as that goes, I can't think off of the top of my head. I can't think of any other Chinese martial art that I personally find practical in combat. Most of the Chinese martial arts I see are down in column 8, which is Kata based, and I'll talk about that in more detail a little bit later. I'm not trying to diss any martial art. I'm not disrespecting any martial art, and I am not absolutely condoning or throwing away anything. I'm just saying, for me personally, other than Tai Chi, I can't think of a Chinese martial art that I personally have experienced or viewed and think has, for me, a practical application in combat. Number 4, almost all Korean martial arts. And again, the only reason I say almost is because there's a glimmer of hope and respect for Hapkido, and that's only because it's really Aikido, just taken from Aikido by a Korean. And my biggest complaint about Korean martial arts, personally, from my viewpoint, I have never seen a Korean martial art that wasn't really a Japanese martial art or a martial art from another culture that they politely borrowed, ripped off, stole, anyway, and just rebranded it with a Korean name and then just added high kicks, high flashy kicks. Just a personal viewpoint. That's all I see Korean martial arts as they take somebody else's martial art, add high flashy kicks to it, and boom, give it a different name, and there you go. Taekwondo, karate with high flashy kicks. Hapkido, Aikido, high flashy kicks. Well, there's another, I don't know what, I think it's called Harongdo or something like that. I could be mistaken in the name. Anyway, it's just samurai sword fighting with high flashy kicks. So there we go. That's my viewpoint on Chinese martial arts and Korean martial arts. Every art from India. Now, I've seen many videos where they like to claim that their culture created martial arts. I wholeheartedly disagree with that opinion. I don't personally know what culture created the martial arts, but I do know from my research and education that the first true real culture on this planet was the Sumerians. Now, prior to the Sumerians, there had to have been a martial art of some sort trained by hunter-gatherers or small bands of groups of people. There had to have been, absolutely. I don't have any proof of that, but this is my opinion, so I don't need proof. But even if there wasn't, the Sumerians did have martial arts absolutely had martial arts. And their culture, whether the Indians want to agree with it or not, came before they did. So there you go. So I don't like the Indian idea and arrogance that they created martial arts and da-da-da-da-da, because it's just not true. Plus, if you look at it in the respect of like a computer, let's just make an assumption that the India cultures did create martial arts. So their martial art was 1.0. All right. Let's say now, today we're at 10.0. All right, just to randomly use numbers. So when you look at computer programming and computer functions, which is better? Version 1 or version 10? Now, I know that's arguable because I tend to disagree with changes just for changes, but overall, if you look at it, version 1.0 is not nearly as effective or as good as version 10.0. So even if they did create martial arts, which I don't agree with, I wouldn't be boasting that, you know, I created the very first martial art, because at this point in time it doesn't work and it's not practical anymore. So anyway, there we go. So 1 through 5 we have Taekwondo and Capoeira, just because I'm not fond of flashy, high, twisty stuff. Pretty much all Chinese and Korean martial arts, and again I expressed my reasonings behind that. And then as far as I know, anything that's considered Indian, from India, as far as martial arts, I've never had any interest in. I've seen some of it. I've never trained it, but I've seen it and I've trained enough to know it's not for me. Number 6, the attitude of just about every Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu person I contact with on YouTube. Not necessarily in person. There have been a few people that are 100% gung-ho about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that are actually polite and nice, but it's rare. I enjoy the art. I trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for several years. I never did belts. Never cared about the belts. I trained it during my MMA career, so I have zero. I'm less than a white belt in BJJ, but I was around a lot of them, and I do watch a lot of videos on YouTube about it, and the attitude is just horrible. And you guys don't have the perfect martial art, and it's not the greatest thing since sliced bread. Number 7, no touch knockouts. I don't even think I should consider this on the list, but I'm going to throw it in here for shits and giggles anyway. I am absolutely sure that Demok type techniques do work. I know for a fact that it works for me and on me, and it's just not my blind obedience to something that allows me to be susceptible to it, because I try not to have blind obedience to anything. So anyway, no touch knockouts are fake. They don't work. Number 8, Kata arts. Any art, in my viewpoint, from my perspective, that focuses mainly, if not wholly, on working Kata only, or for the most part, just are not practical for me. You can learn a lot of stuff from Kata, and in my later years, I have come to appreciate the concepts and ideas of Kata a little bit more than I used to, but I still don't find them to be overall a practical and useful thing for me personally. Now, forms or katas or whatever, anyo, whatever you want to call them, does have a place for me at this point. But again, I've been training martial arts since I was 12. I'm now 53 years old. I've had a pretty good amount of experience. Whether it's experience that someone wants to accept or not is completely neither here nor there. But at this point in my life, Pardon me. At this point in my life, I can do things by myself, and I can understand what I'm doing, and I can apply it so that it helps me train. Now, when I was younger and I didn't have that experience, katas really don't help. As a matter of fact, katas, in my viewpoint, hamper someone's true and real skills and abilities. Because if you're just doing this in midair all day, that doesn't really teach you anything other than memorization. That's it. 99.99% of the people out there that do that have no clue what they're even really doing. Most people that teach it don't even know what they're doing. And again, I can do a video completely on this whole kata thing, but that's not what this video is based on. It's just an aspect of. So, any arts that focus mainly on katas, for me, have no practical use in my life. So there we go. So this is my universe. The untrue, unrealistic, biased lies of the all-opinionated, little truth or fact compiled by untrained, uneducated, unskilled, or biased individuals, basically unpeople. This is why these lists of useless, stupid, unusable, whatever they want to, what word they want to use, martial art lists on YouTube are useless. Because they're all opinion, and it's for them, it's their viewpoint, not everybody else's viewpoint. So maybe if this gets any views, because most of my videos don't anyway, but if this gets a lot of views, maybe I'll do another video on martial arts that I personally have found practical and useful in my life, and why. So, there we go. Thank you for watching Bentley's Backwards Bushcraft, and enjoy the outdoors, even if it's just your own backyard.